Today's class is gonna be on water lines and things that can happen when you get in the ground, the unexpected things that can happen on a job, um, things that can be prevented on a job, and things that cannot be prevented on a job. Everybody knows we're doing this Hickson job. We'll just use that as an example. We were originally called out for 32 gallons a leak, minute leak. We located the leak. We called ALD out. ALD located the leak in one spot. We dug down. We did not find the leak in that spot. We called ALD back out again. They located it in the same spot again. We extended the hole bigger. Still did not find the leak. Found fittings, but did not find the leak. Backfilled the hole. Called another leak detection company out. They located the leak way off from where ALD even said it was. Alright, we fixed that leak, 32 gallons a minute. We replenished that much pressure back to the line. After we had done backfilled our section, it came up again in front of our section. We dug that up, replaced the fitting that was busted. Once we replaced that fitting, we noticed we still had a leak on the line. We called ALD back out. They located the leak in our hole that we had just previously backfilled. And the reason being, there was another fitting in there that had, when we replenished the pressure, there was another fitting in that hole that had busted. So, you never know what you're gonna get hit in the ground until you get in the ground. It's always good to call 811, 411, I think it's 811 before you dig anywhere, just because of electrical and things of that nature. I've hit plenty of electrical lines in the ground, not digging, knock on wood, I've never hit a gas line or nothing like that. But it could happen, I could see it happen very easily. Whenever you do a dig and you come across a fitting that's in the ground, you always cut out that old fitting and replace it. You Hymax it up together and just put a straight piece of pipe in there if possible. We don't take no chances with them. We're not gonna backfill it if there's a fitting in there, an old fitting in there, because 9 times out of 10 when the ground settles back down or earth settles, or when you tamp or whatever the case may be, it's gonna bust it. And then you're gonna be called back on a recall that you knew wasn't a recall. You see what I'm saying? So, no fittings left behind, we'll cut them out and just move them out the way. Hymaxes will connect to anything, any kind of material that's the same size as what you're using. 2-inch Hymax can connect to any 2-inch pipe. Copper, Schedule A, PVC, whatever. 1.5 inch, same thing. And there are different Hymaxes. There's these things called mechanical couplings. We call them MJs. I don't know if y'all are familiar with MJs. MJ is a long coupling. They come in 6-inch, half foot, and foot long. Now, Hymax coupling only, say if you got a separation in your lines are offset. If it's a little offset, a Hymax will straighten that out. Let's say you got one where it's coming in, one line's here, one's here. And they're bad off, where you would have to build 45s to connect to the other side. You could get a foot long MJ, stick that end in the other end, and it'll pull it together and make it level, straighten it out. And that's what the good thing about MJs. You don't have to stake them down. They only got 2 screws in them. You don't have to cut bolts or nothing like that. You just, once they're torqued down, they're torqued down. So that's another way to use them. And I suggest everybody, if you ever get to a place where you can find an MJ, I suggest you just buy one just to keep on your van. A foot long. Because even if you did have a bust and it was a small bust, you could cut that section out and sleeve it and fix a busted water line with one. Instead of having to use 2 Hymaxes, you can bridge that gap right there. Thrust blocks. If you run into a thrust block in the ground, be aware of your surroundings. check for a fire main that's close. Might be up under you, you just haven't dug deep enough to find it yet. Like I said, a hydrant, something that would be connected to fire main. So be mindful of that. And they'll always be built in the ground. The thrust block will always be in the ground. So, but I've seen them make them several different ways. I've seen thrust blocks where you just bags of concrete, somebody just set bags of concrete down there and stack them up on each other and let the earth, soak them and let the earth do what it do. I've seen big boulders set as thrust blocks, bricks. I've seen all different types of things that people have made as thrust blocks. So just keep that in mind if you're ever digging or excavating and you're hitting ground or hard rock, it's probably a thrust block holding something in place.
Do we have giant thrust blocks on that fire main?
Yeah. Always be mindful of your equipment. Dig trailers, you treat dig trailers with the utmost respect. You take the equipment out, use the equipment, you wash the equipment before you put it back in. Everything has to be cleaned off and put back in its proper spot. And that's just because we need longevity of our equipment. And if you don't do that and they catch you slipping, then it's a fine. You see what I'm saying? And that's the best way to teach a grown man is by, socking to his pocket. You know what I mean? That's how you get a man's attention. You start playing with that rent money. You know what I mean? Then they start to listen.
Mhm.
So that's why we do that. You know what I mean? And it needs to be done. And that's, like I said, it keeps the longevity of the equipment and it keeps everything running smooth. So, and we are all adults. We have a trailer called the Build-A-Bear. That's one where you just go and you'll sign out all your equipment that you're gonna need for the dig, and the technician can actually hook to that trailer and take it. On a regular dig trailer, I'll be the one that'll bring it to you on site and collect it from you on site. Cleanliness. Always, when you're digging, always stop and clean up while you're digging. Step by step, clean, dig, clean, cut, clean, jackhammer, clean. Make sure everything just stays neat and clean. And it's gonna save you a day. Trust me, on the back end, it will save you a day if you do it that way. Other than that, guys, I don't really have a whole lot. Let's have a good week and be productive and